The reason why we sold the UK healthcare business is not so much related to COVID or post-COVID. We are really focusing more on specialist medical businesses. So in the last 12 months, we acquired a number of healthcare businesses as well. So that's a specific reason. It is true that we've seen our mix normalize. So we've seen significant sales, more than $1 billion in COVID-related products. So we have seen that come down last year, but we've seen the base business go up. And that's really the beauty of Bunzl. We are a diversified business. We are operating in multiple sectors, in multiple regions. And that's why you see this very consistent growth in earnings and profitability over a longer period of time.
Frank, I thought it was very illuminating. You want to go straight in on the divvy as well. So why don't I just come back to the divvy as well? Unarguable, there is growth in the divvy, and you're seeing good growth in the divvy. What is arguable is the level of the divvy outright compared with the FTSE 100. You know, and you want to compare yourself with the best in the FTSE 100. So let me compare you just with the mean of the FTSE yield, which is pretty much double what your yield is on your divvy. So I know the company's going well, and clearly you're in a sweet spot in many, many ways. Again, unarguable. So why is your divvy half the level of the average FTSE company? It
really has to do with the fact that we have such an enormous opportunity in front of us in terms of making acquisitions. The best return for our shareholders is about buying good businesses. We bought 12 businesses last year. Already we acquired 2 businesses this year. And the return for our investors coming from buying good businesses is a lot more favorable than paying dividends. But we are sticking to increasing our dividends. Our capital allocation is really around, first of all, investing in our organic business that generates about 45% return on capital, so very profitable. Secondly, we are investing in dividends. Then we are investing in great acquisitions. And we're only at a net debt to EBITDA of 1.2, so we have a huge firepower for making good acquisitions going forward.
And it's amazing that he and I have been talking to you and Michael Roney before you since 2005. And do you know what? You could almost transport any one of those conversations and talking about your acquisitions. You just mentioned, I think, 12 in the last year. Why? No, let me ask you another question. How has that acquisition model evolved? Because that has been the mainstay of Bunzl for, again, the 17 years plus 18 years that he and I have been talking to you.
About 2/3 of our growth comes from acquisition. About 1/3 is organic. We are by far the largest in our market sectors we're operating in. But these markets are huge markets and they are very fragmented markets. So it continues to give us an enormous opportunity. If you look at the UK and Ireland penetration, our sales per capita, and you compare it, for instance, to continental Europe, continental Europe could be 5 times bigger than it is today. So an enormous runway still.
What about the macro headwinds here? Because he and I are sitting around the desk every day listening to economists telling us about the recession that's coming and how it's going to be brutal and we're going to get a reset because of high debt levels in the company arena or in among consumers. You have effectively reconfirmed the 2023 outlook here for slightly higher revenue than last year. Do you not think those speed humps are going to matter this year? How do you intend to negotiate them? Is there a risk of recession, and what would it mean for the business?
Bunzl is a GDP-related business, a GDP +1, let's say. So if economies are being impacted, obviously we see that. But you know, we've seen very strong performance also during difficult times. If you look at our dividend graph, which is basically mirroring our profitability, during 2009 we've seen the results go well. During COVID we've seen the results go well. So even if the business is a little bit under pressure, we will strongly outperform the rest of the index and other businesses because of the diversified nature of our portfolio.